Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. Who's going to win this fight? Well, first of all, who's going to win this fight? Let's take a look at the latest performances in which Ilia Topuria fought Alexander Volkanovski, in which both started off great in round 1 until Ilia Topuria knocked out Alexander Volkanovski in round 2. Now after this, Ilia Topuria went on to fight Max Holloway, in which both went back and forth, both landed some great shots and kicks until Ilia Topuria dropped and put a lot of punishment on Max Holloway, and the rest seen enough and stopped the fight in round 3. Now let's take a look at Charles Oliveira's latest performances, in which he fought Arman Tsarukyan, in which it was a very close fight. Both of their striking, grappling, and ground game was great, but Arman Tsarukyan won by decision. Now after this, Charles Oliveira went on to fight Michael Chandler for his second time, in which both started off very fast until Charles Oliveira rocked Michael Chandler in round 2.
And if you want to know about that Oliveira power,
both had their moments in this fight, but Charles Oliveira won by decision.
Charles the Bronx.
Now, right off the bat, I want to say that this fight could end up being a lot closer than we might think, simply because we know what Charles Oliveira can do, and we know what makes Ilia Topuria very dangerous. So let's start off how Charles Oliveira can win this fight. Well, right off the bat, he's got the size advantage, so if he can maintain distance and not get reckless and rush forward, then he can definitely pick his shots from range, which will make it hard for Ilia Topuria to close the distance and land anything significant. And in that case, we could end up seeing Charles Oliveira outstrike and outland Ilia Topuria, which will lead to him taking the win by decision. And the other way I can see Charles Oliveira having success in this fight and possibly winning this fight is by incorporating his grappling and looking to take the fight to the ground. And honestly, that will tell us how good Ilia Topuria is when it comes to defending takedowns and fighting on the ground. And I believe that if we see Charles Oliveira actually take Ilia Topuria to the ground, I believe Ilia Topuria's wrestling and ground game could end up getting exposed, since he talks about how good his wrestling is, but we haven't seen him fight on the ground against the best grapplers and submission artists. But now let's look at how Ilia Topuria can win this fight. Well, I believe he can win if he can use his footwork and speed to close the distance and land some big clean shots on Charles Oliveira. And what benefits him here is that Charles Oliveira likes to come forward and put pressure on his opponents, so Ilia Topuria is not going to have to go chase after Charles Oliveira, which helps him since he is the shorter fighter. And with Charles Oliveira having a weak chin and horrible defense, that's going to make it really easy for Ilia Topuria to set him up with some big shots. So I got Ilia Topuria beating Charles Oliveira, and I do believe he knocks him out.